What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name's AJ Butler. I'm a real estate agent here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I don't just make videos on real estate. I make videos about the whole experience of Fort Lauderdale. Whether you're here full-time or just stopping by for the weekend, I've got something for you. So make sure to subscribe and hit that bell to get notified when I drop a new video. Today, I'm diving into an incredible real estate approach that could potentially save you thousands of dollars a year, and it's called house hacking. I'm gonna be talking about what house hacking is, how you can get into house hacking, and I'm also gonna throw in a few examples of what my clients have done in the past. Let's get into it. So what is house hacking? Essentially, it's a real estate strategy where you offset the cost of your mortgage by renting out a portion of your home. In some cases, the income generated from this rental can cover other expenses as well, helping you drastically reduce your living expenses or live for free. Now, before you start complaining and saying that you never share space with anybody, there's multiple ways that you can go about this. The first option is to rent out a room in your house and share the common areas. Although not the most ideal option, it is the easiest way to get into house hacking if you're already living somewhere. For this option, I'd recommend finding somebody that you trust, like a family member or a friend. I wouldn't recommend renting out a room on a daily rental platform like Airbnb or VRBO or something like that, just because there's gonna be a lot of people coming in and out of your house, and safety is obviously the #1 priority. The second option, and one of the most popular options here in South Florida, is to buy a single family house with a private separate entrance, either around the side of the house or around the back. This option makes both parties feel like they have a bit more privacy because you have a door and they have a door. Typically in this situation, you're gonna set this room up in a way where they don't need to come into the main house at all. They're gonna have their own bathroom, their own sleeping area, maybe a microwave or a mini fridge, or anything that's gonna make this rental more appealing. I've actually seen people convert a garage into a fully furnished rental with a mini kitchen. Now, there is one more thing that you can do, kind of another option, but I'm not gonna make it its own option just because it's so similar to this one. But it's buying a single family house with a detached unit, almost like a mother-in-law suite or like a guest house. You would rent that place out just as you would the additional room. Another quick note before we get into the next type of property. If you're in a season of life right now where you'd rather sacrifice luxuries in the short term to get ahead later in life, you may even stay in the smaller portion of the house and rent out the majority of the house to bring in more rental income. The third option, and the one that put house hacking on the map, is to buy a multi-family property like a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, live in one of the units, and rent out the rest of them. This is the most private option as everyone has their own space, their own kitchens, typically their own parking, but it's also the most expensive option. If I were to house hack, this is probably the option that I would pick. The reason being is because not only do I get a lot of space, but so do the tenants, making it easier for me to bring in more rental income and potentially cover my whole mortgage payment. So now that I've given you an idea of what house hacking is and the different ways that you can go about it, let's dive into the steps that you can take to get into house hacking. Step 1 is to research and understand the market. To get started in house hacking, you need to understand your local market. Fort Lauderdale has a very diverse real estate scene, from single family houses, condos, to multifamily properties. So there's plenty of opportunities out there for this to work. The biggest thing that you're gonna wanna do is figure out what kind of renting you're interested in. Fort Lauderdale has a big vacation rental market. So would you rather rent to families coming in for the weekend, snowbirds coming down for a few months at a time, or would you rather have one tenant on an annual basis? There are definitely pros and cons to each of these options, so make sure you really sit down and think about this for a while. Knowing this before you start searching for properties is crucial. Step 2 is talk to a local lender and get pre-approved. The cool thing about house hacking is you get the opportunity to get into real estate investing without having to put a ton of money down. If you were to buy this property and not live in it, you'd have to put around 25% down as an investment property, but since you're gonna be living in it, you can put as little as 3.5% down with an FHA loan or 3% down with a conventional loan. You can get into a decent multifamily property here in this Fort Lauderdale area for around $700,000. That's a $104,000 difference as far as what you're bringing to the closing table. This is why it's so important to talk to a local lender and tell them your plans. That way you get pre-approved for the right loan. Step 3 is gonna be to find an agent and start shopping. I wanted to put these two steps together because working with an agent is only gonna help you. An agent is wrapped up in the real estate all day, every day, so they may have a better eye for properties out there that will bring in more rental income than others. Building wealth through real estate just happens to be the main reason I'm in this business in the first place. So my attention is already focused on real estate that would make a good investment property. On that note, something that you need to think about before buying is, would this make a good investment property if I wasn't house hacking it? Because the goal is to not house hack forever. The goal is to utilize house hacking as a way to break into the investing side of real estate. Steps 4 and 5 are obviously to buy the property and then rent out the property, but I'm sure if you've made it through steps 1 through 3, you either know how to do this on your own or you're working with an agent that's gonna walk you through the whole process. In the last section of this video, I'm gonna want to show you proof of concept. That way you know that this thing actually works. So what I wanted to do is break down some of the numbers of a house that one of my investors just bought. He's not necessarily interested in making a ton of cash flow, although that would be great. He's more interested in building wealth through real estate over the long term. So this particular property is a single family house. He stays in a small portion of the house and he rents out the majority on short-term rental platforms. Matter of fact, the only way the numbers would work on this property is if it was utilized as a short-term rental. So let's break it down. It's a $675,000 single family house. He bought it with a 3% conventional loan at a 6.75% interest rate. The monthly mortgage payment is $6,691 and it consists of principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, and private mortgage insurance because he put less than 20% down. Now this is the cool part. So as a short-term rental, he's bringing in anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000 a month, depending on the season. So some months he may have to dish out a little bit of his own cash to cover the mortgage payment. But if you average it out over the year, he pretty much owns a $675,000 house for free. If you're inspired and excited about this strategy and you want to explore house hacking opportunities here in Fort Lauderdale, make sure to shoot me a text and we'll set something up. All of my contact details are in the description of this video. Now listen, if you didn't find this information helpful, don't like the video, don't share it with any of your friends that may be interested in house hacking, and definitely don't comment on this video. On the contrary, if you did find this information helpful, make sure to show some love. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, don't get trapped in living a life that you don't want to live. Reimagine what that perfect life looks like and go out there and live it. We'll see you in the next one.